with 7 monks in Tibet had burned themselves to death. Now 2 more nuns have joined them, and there are 40 more waiting, and Tibetan monks and nuns around the world are threatening to self-immolate because of the situation in Tibet. The situation in Tibet is untenable. There is torture. There really is a kind of cultural genocide happening there. We have one of the largest Tibetan communities in South Parkdale anywhere in the world outside of Nepal. And so here is a place where we all should be cognizant of what's happening to our neighbors and their families back in Tibet. So if you pass a Tibetan, say Tashi Delay, and tell them that you are willing to sign the pledge. If you go online, the Students for a Free Tibet have a pledge that you can sign that says that you stand in solidarity with them and that you're asking for diplomatic intervention with China regarding the situation in Tibet. I'm old enough to remember the monks burning themselves in the Vietnam War, and I know that it hastened the end of that war. The unfortunate reality is that the world isn't watching these monks and nuns the way they were watching the monks in Vietnam. So we need to be the eyes for the world. So here in Parkdale, make sure you're saying hello to your Tibetan neighbors, and make sure you sign the pledge. And we together will make sure that there is one day of free Tibet. Thank you.
내가 농주 강사 소멸된 자유 소가 토르마도 마루 조사민도 소가 토에 강라 강기 티고 여기 강기 티고 말이 유지 티고 잡죠
Thank you. Thank you. Why is there no early dancing? By early, I mean dancing that starts at 9 p.m. or 8 or 7, so early to bed people can enjoy themselves, have a drink, and be home by 11 or 12. You can watch a movie or a show and be home by 11. Why not dancing? Would DJs and musicians object? A few would, many would happily work for the money, and a few would be truly pleased to be home early. Would owners of dance clubs, music establishments, etc. be interested? Some would, for early dancing would be a good money-maker for the first owners who offer it. Would many dancers appreciate early dancing? Many, many would. I would.
I would.
Please say yes to early dancing. Thank you. The second one is called democracy and good government. We use the word democracy as if it were a motto or a charm. Democracy, we think, makes some of the world go round. We think that the entire world would turn better if it were entirely democratic. We use the word democracy loosely and sentimentally to mean that we somehow govern ourselves. This would be true if we lived in a direct democracy in which all citizens vote on important matters. However, we live in a representative, parliamentary, or indirect democracy. Other people that some of us vote for on an election day, members of parliament and members of provincial parliament, decide important matters for us. Of course, it is not true that our representatives decide for us. Our MPs and MPPs are told what decisions to make by political parties and the leaders of those parties. An elected representative that votes contrary to the wishes of her or his party will be punished by that party. It is nearly impossible for someone to be elected who is not a member of a party. In Canada, since the year 2000, there have been 5 independent MPs elected or re-elected out of a total of 1,873 MPs. In Ontario, there have been only 6 independent MPs, MPPs, since 1867. The purpose of political parties is not to achieve good government. The purpose of political parties is to keep or gain power. Every time we inaccurately use the word democracy to describe the way we live, we drive the nails more deeply into the coffin of hope for good government. Thank you again. And finally, Matt asked me to say a few words about the Parkdale Historical Society. There is no such animal, but hopefully there soon will be. There was a meeting 2 Thursdays ago, sponsored by the Parkdale Residents Association, to promote a Parkdale Historical Society. Members of the Toronto Historical Society, the Ontario Historical Society, and various local Toronto Historical Societies attended. Everyone thought it was a good idea. If anyone is interested, if you check out the Parkdale News, www.parkdalenews.com, 3 issues ago, I believe, there was an article called A Parkdale Historical Society. It's easily found, and it tells you what you can do if you wish to take an interest in promoting and starting a Parkdale Historical Society.
Selling zines and crafts and small press books. And we have events such as a mental health zines panel and a Hollywood zine challenge thing where we're getting 3 people to make zines based on a movie that we'll tell them just before they start. And TUM, which is the Toronto Underground Market, will be there, and they'll be selling food throughout the day. Yeah, and then there'll be Trash Palace is having a film room where they're going to show classroom films from the 50s and 60s, and then there's a typewriter orchestra, people playing music using typewriters. So yeah, come out, and I'm going to put flyers on the information desk. Thanks!
Approach to life and healing. I'm just getting my Reiki once again, but I'd like to see people helping out in the community and just looking for visualizing a better time for humanity when we cross the threshold and when we can sustain a spiritual environment. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Age 5 and up, and as they move through our movement, we engage them with more and more in adventure, teaching them to challenge themselves and to face the challenges that the world's going to present them. Our older youth right now, which is called the Ventures, who are 13 to 17, are planning a trip to Scotland next year where they're going to get together with about 40,000 scouts from around the world, from across the Middle East, Asia, South America, and Europe, to meet their fellow world citizens and learn how they can help contribute to making the world a better place. We meet in different locations around the community on Wednesday and Thursday evenings and are always looking for new members. So if you know kids that are looking for a way to get out of the house, get active, get engaged in their community, recommend scouting to them. I'll be leaving some information pamphlets on the information booth, and you can come and talk to me. I'm going to be around for a few minutes, and I would love to have a chance to share a little more with you about what Scouting does. Some of you may have seen last night on the 5th of State on CBC a documentary about Scouting that is not very complimentary necessary, and I would love to have a chance to tell you in person why we think that they've made quite a sensational article out of something that we worked very hard to deal with. Thank you for your time, and enjoy this beautiful afternoon.
Hello. Another long hair. That's good. Going to talk about a silent thing that's in Parkdale. It's called bed bugs. Everyone's afraid to talk. Huh. Hey, Blondie. Blondie. Oh, yeah, I'm looking at you. Listen, it could happen to you. I'm talking about bed bugs. And in Parkdale, it's a silent thing. You listen to me now, eh? Hey? Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a silent thing, and people are scared to say anything. They're scared to talk to tenant, their neighbors, the landlord, because they're going to get cut off or treated badly. It's a rampant thing, and now we get condos and everything coming in, and they're getting it too. So it's not just the poor. Blondie! I'm just joking. Go ahead, talk. Yeah. It doesn't matter, the rich or poor. You get them.
I have bed bugs.
There you go. He has bed bugs.
I do.
Yeah, well, yeah. And it's hard, and you lose things. You lose mattresses, carpets, everything. And it's not rich or poor, who you are, it's just, you get them. But I mean, people are scared to say anything. And it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way.
I totally agree.
Here's the man. Here's the man that says, yeah, you don't get that. It's amazing. You don't get that concerning the subject of bed bugs. But everyone's so scared because there's a stigmatism that if you're dirty and all that, you can be clean or dirty, poor or rich, you get them, and they screw your life up, and they screw your money up. You lose everything.
I know, it sucks.
Yeah, no, not just sucks, it screws your life.
Yes,
Totally screws your life.
Greetings from the Junction, your sister community to the north and just a little bit to the west. I'm aware that there is a movement, a thirst for a historical society here in Parkdale, and I know that there was a meeting very recently, and some of the people from WTJHS, as we call it, came down to talk to you about it. And so I'd just like to take this opportunity to urge people in the community to put together a historical society. Just tell you a little bit about what we do, and perhaps it's something that you can adapt. Is we have an archives in the Annette Street Library. We have thousands of images digitally stored there. So when you think of all the old photographs that people have in the community and things that you can get from the Toronto archives, there really is a way where people can centralize their memories, and that's a lot of what a historical society does. The other thing is that we help people research their own homes so that they can get a sense of their own history. We talk to schools, and we try to spread the message. There's such a rich history here in Parkdale, and I hope that as the movement grows, that you look very closely at the life of Beatrice Lilly, once known as the funniest woman in the world. Basically established the one-woman comic show and was born at 168 Davenport Road here in Parkdale. Attended the Gladstone Avenue Public School, as did Mary Pickford, who essentially created cinematic acting in the 20th century. Part of the reason I bring this up is one of the things we've done in the Junction to publicize our own story is that we've brought back some of the great historic characters from the past. We actually have a historical talk show that we mount whenever we get a chance. We recently welcomed descendants from the Heinzman Piano Factory. As a matter of fact, if that is of interest to any of you who are hanging on my words today, you might want to join us tomorrow afternoon at the Annette Street Library, where we will be giving a walking tour, which we have achieved some fame for, of the Heinzman Piano Factory and the great homes that the family created. If I can leave you with a message, it's that the Parkdale has an incredible, powerful, and exciting history, and we in the Junction would do anything that we could to help you create a historical society here. Thank you so much. Enjoy the day.
Thank you.
Let the trumpet man catch fire. He squeezed the flood out of a stone, and all the people drank it dry. The angels couldn't understand how everyone could get it right. Circus composed